Greetings and hallucinations. Welcome back. It's been a while. I've missed you. I hope you're doing well. This is Buddy, Spun Together, and I'm here for a little catch up on what I've been up to. Um, Everything's been okay. Everything's worked out good. So let's get on with what have I been doing? What have I got up my sleeve? A couple of things. I've only got a little bit of knitting, some dyeing, and I think that's about it. Nothing too exciting, not much to keep my hands busy. First of all, finished object. You may be wondering, what in the world is this little hat? Well, are you a coffee drinker? If I can get it on here. Just a little cozy to keep my coffee warm, to help protect the glass on the table. I think it's cute. I mean, it's nothing special, just cotton knit in a circle. I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 stitches, and then a purl stitch. So I just did my rib around it, decrease, and just finished it off and pulled it in tight. So that way I don't have to worry about setting it down or anything to go with it. Of course, I had to do a washcloth. It's just my basic squares. The color is actually a purple, but it looks like it's showing up blue on the screen. It's a knit 3, purl 3 for 3 rows, and then you just flip it around for the next 3 rows as big as you want it. I usually go with between 30 and 42 rows or stitches, and then however many rows I need to make it a square. For me, it's just a good size. It's, I don't know, maybe 8 inches. So when it's wet, it expands a little bit. When it goes through the dryer, it shrinks, but it's a good workable size for me. That yarn is, somewhere I have a ball band, and I may be able to find it. I thought it was a Premier, but it's not. It is the Loops and Threads yarn, Capri Echo Cotton. It's 131 yards for 2.65 ounces, or 120 meters for 75 grams. It's a medium weight of 4. It works up in between the Peaches and Cream and the Premier cotton. It has a little bit of feel of both. I like it better than the Peaches and Cream, and I forgot the other name it goes by, Sugar and Cream maybe, but it's a little bit finer than that, but not as fine as the Premier. It does have, you know, that same feel. I think it's 85% recycled cotton, 15% polyester. So that's why it has that same feel as the Premier. It has the poly to help neutralize some of the cotton roughness and ropiness to it. Some of the other things that I've been working on, and while I've got it up here beside of me, let's go with a little bit of dyeing. I'm no stranger to dyeing yarn. I enjoy dyeing yarn, but this is the first time I've tried to dye roving. Roving is unspun. It's before it turns into yarn. It's just this long, stretched out lock of wool. It's roving or top. It Depends on which expert you ask. The first time I dyed it, I was not happy with the way it turned out. It was a little bit on the light side, a little bit on the not quite the color I wanted side. And when I dyed it the second time, I think I felted it just a little bit. You can sort of see a little bit right in here. It doesn't have all that smooth texture you would expect. But when you split it open, it has the texture that of unfelted, and you can see the lock on it. So it has lots of bounce, so it did not affect that any. So if nothing else, I will only be able to use the inside, but I think the outside can be stretched and manipulated enough. If not, I'm not sure what I'm going to do unless I can recomb it, which I don't have any combs, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. So I'll be giving it a try, see what I can do, see if I've really screwed it up. I'm not going to dye anymore until I find out how this turned out, what kind of mess I've made, what kind of mess I have, if it's workable, and where do I go from there with it. So we shall see. Okay, and on to my works, my finished objects. I have my basket. It's my show and tell basket. Wouldn't be me without socks. So these are some of my own hand spun. Actually, this is a respin. I had about 3 balls of a core spun that I did not like. They were either a 50 or 100 gram ball. I'm not sure. I think they were 100 gram. Excuse me. So I removed the core, and that left me with this almost a pencil roving of fluff. So it was just a matter of holding it together long enough for it to get the twist on the spinning wheel to actually make the single and then ply the singles together. And I ended up with, it's not quite a DK, but it's not a fingering weight. It's a decent sport weight. There are some spots in it that are definitely fingering, some that are definitely DK, but the bulk of it is a good fingering weight. Almost smooth. I'm still working on spinning smooth, spinning consistently, and getting what I want out of the wool. It's 52 stitch. It's my standard heel flap and gusset. I like the way it fits, I like the way it feels, and the toe is just your standard decreased toe, semi-rounded. Still a little bit on the wedge, but not as dominant as some that I've made. So I'm happy with it. It's a good sturdy material. I used a size US 3, which I think is a 3.25 millimeter. It worked up relatively quick. I had a pair in maybe 3 days. Just work on it when I could. And if I had a few minutes, I'd go to town. If I didn't have a few, then I'd just get a little bit done. The other thing that I did, I had some jumbo yarn that I'd already made a couple of hats out of, and I had a good size ball of it. I'm not a fan of the jumbo, and it was a 2-ply, just a very weirdly spun single that were just 2-plied together. So what I did was I just unplied the 2 and used this as just singles, and I'm pretty happy with it. The color is coming out pretty much what it is. I'm calling this my crown hat because of the way the decreases sort of form the crown in the middle. And This is for someone, so it's nice and squishy. It's tight enough to keep them warm, and the stitches are tight enough that it can go through the wash and possibly the dryer without any worries. I do not remember the count that I used on this. It was just one of those, let's cast it on and see what we get. So I'm going to say probably close to a 200 stitch or just under, because usually a 200 for me is more of a fingering weight. So between 150 and 200, I would have to count to see for sure. The next thing that I've knitted on has been 100% my hand spun, also some of my own that I've dyed, and I'm pretty happy with this one. This one is 200 count. It came out to a little bit of a thinner DK weight overall. There's still places where it's thinner. It's more like a thicker fingering weight, thinner sports weight. Then there are a few nubs here and there, like right in through here. You can see where I go a little bit on the heavy side. So I thought, well, that would give it a good character. I did a 2x2 rib on the whole thing. That way it can go as big as it's needed, or in it's a whole lot smaller. It is long enough to wear as a brim hat. The colors in it are just some that I played with, using up some dye. When you have just little scraps of dye you want to use up, just make a couple of minis and do it to it. So I'm happy with this one. Not sure if I'm going to keep it or give it as a gift. It is the natural wool color, so it's not a bright white. It's sort of that yellowy tan off-white, just, yeah, sheep color. I am pleased with the way that it came out in the middle. Everything sort of lined up the way I wanted it to. I would have done things different, and in some ways I would not. So I'm pleased with it. The way that I made sure that some of the rows just sort of went in towards each other and gave a little bit of that illusion, I am very pleased with that. So that's just one of mine. Keep your hands busy, and if you're going to spin it, you're going to use it. I think that is all that I have accomplished, which is, like I said, not very much for a month. I have not been working on my sweater. I think I'm where I left off the last time, but I did go ahead and put a stitch marker on it, and that way we can see where I'm at next time. And this is where I'm going to be starting. As you see, I do have my little stitch marker on here. Well, maybe I can show it to you. It's one that I made that I was pleased with. I'm not a big stitch marker user, but I don't think it's going to focus. I believe I'm looking at the side too much. Anyway, it's a little palette with brushes, and as you know, I paint, so that's very appropriate for me. I have maybe 3 to 4 inches from the underarm to where I need to start the rib, at least 3 inches before I attach the pocket. I am doing a self-binding. I've already got the buttonholes started. I can get it to lay in there. And that's what these markers are, is to indicate where each buttonhole is. So far, I'm happy with it. There's things that I would change and things that I would keep the same, which is the way it is with everything. But the way it's going to fit It should come about mid upper chest with the split, and then have the buttons going down. So I'm not sure how many buttons I'm going to need yet. I'm going to wait and see how long it gets. The only ones that I could find that halfway went with it, I am not sure about. They are brass buttons, and I'm like, I really don't know if that's what I want or not. See if I can get it up here with it, if I can hold it. So it's sort of a little too much, and I think the buttons are a little too small. But I had one of these, and I would really like to find some more like it. I'm not sure if it's going to let me show it or not. It's tortoise shell, and I thought, now that would look good with it. So this is not going to let me show it. But anyway, it's a tortoise shell that sort of goes with the little bit of gray and the little bit of taupe that this shows up, depending on the light as to whether it shows taupe or gray. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I'm liking the sweater. It's a DK weight. It's brand is Snuggly Wuggly, and it's their soft gray. So I will be finishing it out. And I do have a ball handy. Yes, soft gray. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. No, it's not going to focus for me. I've had a lot of focus problems, but it is the Snuggly Wuggly brand. It's a loops and thread, and I like the feel of it. It does not feel like acrylic, even though it is 100% acrylic. So that's one thing I like about it. Another thing, it's DK weight. That's one thing I really like about it. And one couple more things to show you I want to give away. I was on a panel with Russ from It's Raining Yarn, and he did, I think it was 3 or 4 random drawings, and he started calling off all the names and everything. My other channel, I go by BRSJB, which is my initials, and he called it out, and I was like, that's me. Well, Fiber Spider was also on the panel. He's like, I know that name, that's Buddy. So I want to give away. So you want to see what I got? Hold on. Okay, give me a second. Wow. Are you ready? Okay, this I knew I was winning because this was part of the giveaway. Just taking the paper off. Look at that. So this was one of them, and there's the hook on it. So it's got a very good hook. It's got a very decent weight. I hold my hooks like this, so I think that would fit. Yeah, that would fit about right, and I would have enough room. I could even do some of the small Tunisian or some of Fiber Spider's treble crocheted Celtic weave. That would be perfect for that. Here's the other one I won, and it looks odd, but it's got like a glitter within the paint. I like it. Here's the hook on it. It's small, but again, it's that right, it hits me just right. So it's right in here, which is what I like, and it has a very good feel to it. I'm gonna have to try these out. They're, I've never had expensive hooks before, so I will be giving those a try. And he hinted that he sent me a little something extra. He did not let me down. He surprised me. Look at this. 2 balls. Cascade Yarns 220 Superwash. 100% superwash wool, 100 grams, which is 3.5 ounces, 220 yards, which is 200 meters, 20 to 22 stitches equal 4 inches or 10 centimeters, US 6 to 7 or 4.0 to 4.5 millimeter hook. Cascade Yarn, Seattle, Washington. Made in China. I do like superwash wool because it just feels so good. And let's see if I can slide my finger up in here. Let me see if I can get 1 or 2. There's 1. It has a very good feel. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to do the sniff test. It smells like the good wool, not the farmyard wool, but the good. It's washed and ready to wear wool. I like that. And the softness test, very soft. I like that. No itch to it. That's why I like the superwash. There's no itch. I can work with it without my nose getting all stuffy or without my eyes being all red and puffy and swollen. That's the main reason I use as much acrylic as I do, because the wool sort of gets to, for someone who spins, that's, contradictory, but that's the way it is. I love to spin, and yeah, things we do we shouldn't. Thank you, Russ. Thank you so very much. Before I go, I have been saying my email wrong, and I apologize. It's spuntogethercrafts@gmail.com. spuntogethercrafts@gmail.com. That's MAIL, not MALE. I know some of you may be wishing or thinking, but you know how it is. One more thing that I would like to do is, let's do us a card of the day. I've seen it on a few other things, so I thought, well, let's just do it here too and see what happens. So I got my cards out, dusted them off. It's been ages. It has been ages. So, shuffle, cut the deck, card of the day. And you thought it was going to be something else, didn't you? But please, be kind to yourself. There are times that being kind to yourself, you're the only one that will be. So take advantage of your own kindness and do something for you. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be 15, 20 minutes of whatever you want to do. Even if you have to lock yourself in the bathroom for 15 or 20 minutes. Yes, small children, I do understand. And we all have our own little things that we need to escape from time to time. And on a very positive note, I would like to say congratulations to Gail on the new addition to the family. I hope great grandmother is a title that you enjoy for a very long time and cannot wait to see how many more you have. But that being said, you all have a wonderful day. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, accept kindness when it's given to you, and have a great day. Blessings.